And welcome to the Fierce Voice Podcast. I'm your host, Brigette Gildemaster. This is a podcast for those who are ready to leave behind survival mode after abuse, where we talk about what it looks like to embody who you are as an individual, learn to love yourself, and bring to light healing after surviving abuse from relationships and religion. Pop your earbuds in to hear heartfelt and powerful intensity from myself and guests. Be ready to put into place actual tools and gather insight for you to use on your healing journey. Hello, and welcome back to the Fierce Voice Podcast. This is episode number 2. Today, we're going to be diving in a little deeper into some concepts that I hope to ask some questions around and dig in deep, bring my own thoughts and opinions forward, and, just break some tradition maybe a little bit. Get us outside of our box, get us outside of, just the robot phase of life, because so many of us, that's where we are. We do what we do because we're told to do it, and nobody has done it differently, and nobody's telling us to do it differently. And instead, I'm here to ruffle feathers. I'm here to break ground on some concepts that I believe are earth-shattering. At least they have been for me in my deconstructing of my spiritual journey, in my walk as a parent, in my walk as a person, as an individual, the way I view life and others around me. And just has helped me love others better while loving myself and bringing joy into my life and being able to be more confident in the person I am, why I'm that way, and be able to share that with others, to help others, to have hold space for others, and in so many ways take the pressure off in certain situations, to where I can actually learn and heal from situations instead of being triggered so much. So today I want to talk about how we can only expect others to love us as much as we love ourselves. And I mean, it seems very surface level, very self-explanatory, but it's something we really need to pause and reflect on. How much do you love yourself? And why? And what about yourself do you love? And maybe even most of you can't even go that far, because I know I couldn't. I know the first time I heard that expression, my hands went up and I said, we can't love ourselves. We're dirty, rotten sinners, and I am nothing but a worthless rag. And I can't love myself because I'm a sinner. And I can't do any good. And I can try my best and hope that some drops fall in the ocean, but I am completely incapable of any good or loving any part of myself because of my sin. And that's not the case, even though that is what the mainstream Christianity would like to spill to us. That's not the case. We are whole now. We are perfect now. Christ has died now. And while we're all still learning and growing, we can do good because of Christ, and we can love ourselves and love our personalities Christ created us in, and love that we love things. I remember so much growing up where I felt ashamed and embarrassed to even admit that I loved something. If I was fascinated with a certain color or a certain theme. It was the 90s, so in the early 2000s, but so fashion was questionable, but the fact that I loved that was not okay. You shouldn't love things about yourself. I would love that I could be quick-witted at times, or that I was looked good today, or loved different aspects of myself. And you can see there wasn't much about myself I actually loved, because I wasn't allowed to shove that one deep as a child. But it's okay. It's okay to love aspects of ourselves. It's okay to love our character. It's okay to love that we're spunky and have personality. It's okay to love that we look good today and to own that and to walk out into the world owning that and to feel good about that. It's okay to love that we love a movie or a concept or, and to just fall in love with that and embrace that and be so happy that our character and personality has developed into what it is, into where you are today. I know I am. I am so happy with myself in the fashion choices I make. I'm so happy in my character that I have made conscious choices to be this person. I am so happy that I've been able to be the parent I am. I'm so happy I've made conscious choices to continue to work on my parenting skills, to continue to feel that I'm progressing. It's not perfect, things still trigger me, but it's better. And I love that about myself. I love that I've been able to help myself heal. And and the thing with that is that has attracted a new set of people in my life. These people love me for as much as I love myself and for the reasons I love myself as well. You know, before, as much as you love yourself, that person I was who didn't love herself, who actually made fun of herself, mocked herself, teased herself, had a rolling tape in her head over and over and over again of how much she wasn't worth it, how stupid she was, how she couldn't keep up, how she couldn't do a better job, how she couldn't, you know, think a certain way, feel a certain way. That's how much people liked me in return. And it was very obvious. And so when I started to change, those people couldn't meet me. They couldn't love me for me anymore because I wasn't that person who was willing to hate myself anymore. And I wasn't willing to let them hate me anymore. And now I have people who respect me for my parenting. They respect me for my voice and speaking out. They respect me for my decisions. They respect me for the job well done that I can accomplish in my work instead of oh yeah, that's Bridget, you know, and I'm able to love myself on the same level that I can accept love. And so I just feel like we need to challenge ourselves so much more in this question of how much do you actually love yourself? And what areas do you need to work on? And how can you do that? So, how can you even get started in loving yourself? It's a whole lot of work. It's a lot of fucking work. And everybody's journey is different. For me, it was so much journaling, so much getting out the feelings and learning about toxicity, learning about high religious abuse, learning about the things I was taught and realizing I was taught that. I didn't know it was called. I was always told, oh, we don't believe that. But that's what I was taught. It just didn't have the label to it. And being able to finally recognize it and see that and then see the ramifications of that. Purity culture is a huge one that influences my self-worth because in that was involves my body and my we have such a disconnect with our soul and our bodies as Christians, and getting back to that, connecting those two. But as a woman, I was only viewed as a person who had to protect myself, had to watch out for, control what other men were thinking of me. I had to, not make other men lust after me while only hoping I could meet a man who would even want to marry me, that a man would actually look at me and desire me and want me and say, I want that one, right? And it's just, and so my whole self-value was wrapped up in getting married, and that was the best thing that could happen to you. And you should be so lucky. And while my body was something to just be of desire on somebody else's whim, basically, in that moment. And that was what would define your whole marriage. And going forward, and period culture is another topic for another podcast on its own, but that's a whole nother level that worked into my self-worth of hating myself. I had to hate myself. I had to hate the body God gave me because it was just a tool used to have men lust. And I had to protect that and guard that and control that and all these things. And so, really having that reflection on your beliefs around why you hate yourself, why you hate your body, why you constantly talk down to yourself. I know the mind. I know that it goes on. I've had it too. Like I've had that. It's a constant track, go over and over. And the things you say to yourself when you screw up or didn't do as good of a job you like, instead of telling yourself what a good job you did when you did that good job and turning it into that positive. So that's the first thing, is to start and just sit with yourself. And it's hard and it hurts. And you have to start admitting. I'm still admitting a lot of things I didn't know I believed, and finding out and going, oh my gosh, that was it. It's a very long process, a very hard journey. Healing is rough. So journaling was huge for me, to get out thoughts and feelings and try and put words to them. And then learning about self-worth and what that meant and how that affected my religious beliefs, my spiritual journey. And beyond that, connecting with people who actually value you. Once you realize your value, and that can mean drastic changes in a numerous amount of ways. It means losing friendships. It means losing connections. It means losing possibly family. It means losing possibly a spouse, because you learn what love is and you learn what love is not. And you have to value that in yourself, because if you don't value it, what reflection is that of how God values you? He valued you, therefore you should value yourself. So I think that wraps that up. I really would love to hear everyone else's thoughts on this. Drop your comments, send me some messages, and we'll see you next week. I believe next week we have a guest on the Fierce Voice podcast. Thank you for joining us today on the Fierce Voice podcast. I truly hope you found healing insight, tools, and a space held for you in this journey. We are all in this together, and you are not alone. You can find me, your host, Brigette Gildemaster, on all social media platforms, and check out my website at www.brigittegildemaster.com, where you can listen to past Fierce Voice episodes, check out my media features, find my books, and inquire about booking me for your next virtual or in-person event. My keynotes are impactful with real-life stories, actionable tools, and inspiration for healing after a life-altering experience. Or check out my workshop event to learn more about how you can prevent abuse in your area. Have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you next time on the Fierce Voice podcast.